Hi everybody, summer's on the way. Are you ready? If not, let me help you. In this video, I'm going to show you how to take a long sleeve dress shirt. I'm going to show you how to turn it into an untuckable summer shirt. And by that, I mean we are going to cut off the sleeves. We are going to cut off the length so that you can wear it untucked. And we're going to open up the side seams a little bit if we can to help airflow, to help keep you cool this summer. If this sounds like something you're interested in, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you're notified when I upload more videos. Thanks, let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is take out the hem and cut off the sleeves. But first, I just wanted to show you that a lot of shirts that have tails or dress shirts usually have quite a bit longer one. And in my research, it was showing that generally they would take off 2 to 2.5 inches of hem. And so what I wanted to do is, because this one's already shorter, we're just going to remove, let me see, we'll probably remove about 1.5 inches because this is 3 inches longer, where the other ones would be quite a bit longer. So I'm going to remove 1.5 inches here and then cut off the sleeves. And then I'll show you what to do next. Okay, in my other video on how to make a long sleeve shirt, a short sleeve shirt, I talked about, the length. I use a square because it is, I know that when you draft a sleeve, this is a straight line on grain. So I'm going to cut, I'm going to mark this at 10.5. So that's how long the sleeve will be. So let me bring this all the way down. So then if you want 1.25 inches sleeve or 1 inch, I'm sorry, 1 inch hem or 1.5 inches hem, whatever, that's what you're going to mark. I will go ahead and just mark 1 inch, a 1 inch hem. Now from here, you're going to do just a little bit more so that when you hem it, you'll just know this is where you're going to fold it. This is your hem line, your new hem line. This one is where you're going to fold before you hem it. And so now I'm going to mark a cut line, and I'm going to do, I'll do a 1/2 inch. It'll just give me enough material to hang on to. Okay. Okay, I just jumped ahead of myself, but it's not too late to fix this. I need to mark the back side of this as well. So you align it with that first chalk mark that you made. Come back here and you mark it there. Now I will leave links in the description box for this chalk. If you guys wouldn't mind help me out by using those links if you're going to purchase this stuff, that would help me without adding a charge to you. So I have the marks on the back. And again, 10.5 inches. Then the 1 inch hem or seam allowance, and then a 1/2 inch for my cut line. now I'm going to take the hem out of this, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grade this here. I'm not shortening this up here like I did in the other video. So let me get this unbuttoned. Okay. Now I'm going to take this seam out, or the hem out, and then I'll go to the ironing board and I will press everything nice and flat so that I can see the line that I'm working with. Okay, I have the hem out, and now I'm going to take it to the ironing board and press this all nice and flat. Okay, for this alteration, I am going to use yellow chalk, and I don't really recommend it if this is something that you're going to wear. For me, it's okay because I'm just showing you how to do it, and I want you guys to be able to see the marks. But this yellow chalk does not always wash out, and in fact, I'm gonna say it rarely washes out. This particular chalk was given to me, so I think it's made a little differently than the white chalk. So I don't recommend you using it unless it's maybe on a yellow, and you know, even then the white will probably come off pretty good. So I am going to take 1.5 inches off the hem, and I'm going to do that here. Now this will appear pretty level across, but it won't be completely. So what I'm going to do is use this. I'm going to align it with, you guys, when I'm talking and I start saying something and I change, it's because I've got a million thoughts going through my head and I have to choose my words as I go, and it's not always wonderful. So, this doesn't look like it's going to match up, but we'll make it work. Maybe double check this length. So I got that first one a little wrong. So when we come up here, we're going to lay the ruler this way, and then we'll flip it and try to make this blend. Okay, when you make this chalk line, make the line, this line needs to blend with that fold. So that's the length of the shirt. So this will be the length of your shirt. Okay, in here, okay, so when you mark your shirt, new shirt length, you're going to blend this line to the fold line, which is the original length of the side seam. Okay, now that the front is marked, we're going to mark the back. It's okay if these marks aren't perfect. When you flip it over, if you make them close enough, you'll be able to blend the lines. Okay, that's all done. Now, one of the differences between a dress shirt and a casual shirt is that a dress shirt tends to be tapered. So we are going to untaper the shirt. And what's nice about this is that it's a flat felled seam. So we have something to work with here. Okay, so I'm going to pull these stitches out, open up the side seams from the hem all the way through the cut end of the shirt. Okay, before I go any further, if your shirt is not really tapered, then you can probably just skip this part. But I just wanted to show you, you can see how this kind of comes out right here. I'm just going to try and straighten it out because I've had shirts, and I know women's shirts are tapered more, and then they have a bigger flare because of our body type. But I'm just going to try and straighten this up a little bit, and it's not much, but it won't give that pull out at the bottom that you can sometimes see when you have a tapered shirt. It's not 100% straight, but it'll look a lot better. Okay, in one of my other videos, I had mentioned how when you come to a curve like this, sometimes when you mess with it, you'll have to blend it. That's why I haven't done the hem. I wanted to do the side seams first, and then we'll work on the hem and then the hem of the sleeves. So if you have a serger, then you can turn it inside out, match up your underarm seams, and if you have a double needle serger, that one is where you can actually construct a garment with just your serger. If your serger is a one needle, then that is a finisher, and then you can just finish your edges with that. If you don't have a serger, then you could either just sew a straight stitch down and then zigzag to finish the edges, or you can make sure your shirt is right side out, like it would look if you were wearing it. You would sew a 1/4 inch seam all the way down. you press that and then you turn it right side out. So then the seams will be tucked in, and then you would sew a 3/8 inch hem. So what I'm going to do is I will do the serging on one side, and the other side I will do a French seam, which is right sides together or wrong sides together, sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance, flip it back over and do the 3/8. That way you have a completely finished inside. Okay, at this point, you will probably need to just trim off a little bit of this to get rid of the threads, so that when you flip it around, you don't get those little threads sticking out. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to press it. I'll come back and then sew the other side. Okay. Wow, I'm really forgetting to do a lot of things at the moment that I need to do them. So we know that we have a 1/2 inch fold over, we have a 1 inch hem, and then we have another inch where we need to sew it. So we need 2.5 inches where this seam needs to be the same width from the underarm seam to the top fold. So it's going to be here. And let me see, it needs to be the same width across from as this fold to this underarm seam here. So here it is 7 3/4. So we're going to go up here to this mark that I just made at the 2.5 inch mark, and we are going to mark here. So now we have an X. Now what we need to do is do another seam. I'm sorry, you guys, my head is so full of thoughts right now, and it's really hard to maintain my thoughts. Okay. So I'm going to take the machine and I'm going to sew from here to this point, this intersection, and back out to this original seam. That way, when I fold it up the 1/2 inch mark and then up the 1 inch mark, it's going to be the same length because we don't want any puckering. So I'm going to take care of that now before I go over to the ironing board. And then I will correct the other side, but off screen. Okay, so now I'm going to go press this out. I'll come back and then we'll take care of everything else. Okay, there's my seam that I just sewed. I pressed it. I'm going to turn it inside out and then make sure that seam is very center so you can see what it looks like. Now I'm going to sew 3/8 of an inch over here, and then that'll enclose all my seams and that side will be finished. Okay, so there it is, and that is the inside. This is the outside. So if you use white thread on a white shirt, it would look better than my orange thread on a white shirt. So I'm going to press this out, and then we will get started on the hem. Okay, I want to show you something. If you're wanting to add just as much room as you can to the body of your shirt, then I would recommend you do a regular stitch, you know, 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then zigzag the edges, because here my seam allowance here ends up being about 3/8 of, wait, no, that's not correct. A 1/4 inch here with my serger. But with the flat felled seam, 1/4 plus 3/8 is 5/8. So if you just do the 1/4 inch seam and then finish the edge with a zigzag, you'll get a little more room in your shirt. Now, before we get started on the hem, I wanted to double check this to make sure that the hem is marked in the correct place. So I'm lining up my button and buttonhole, make sure this is correct, and it is. So I'm just going to start sewing this. And you guys, I went over this in, actually it might have been a couple videos, how to hem a narrow rolled hem on your machine. And that is, you fold it on the actual line, and you're going to sew as close as you can to the fold. And remember, when you're going around a curve, you need to sew a little bit, readjust, sew a little bit, readjust, just to make sure that the grain of the fabric doesn't go off. Okay, so that's the hem. Now we'll get to the sleeves. All right, this is the last little bit of the alteration. Now, you don't have to press it, but I did, because yesterday when I finished, for the day yesterday, I just put my shirt over there, and then this morning I had to iron it, and then so some of my marks got ironed off. So I went ahead and folded it and pressed it so it would be a little quicker getting it done. But I did want to show you something. Hopefully this sleeve shows it. When you use, let me see, when you use this chalk, I don't know if you can see that. I ironed over it, and there is a little bit of a wax mark, and I believe these come out in the wash. But even so, even if it didn't, when you fold it, you won't be able to see it. It'll be down here. You won't be able to see the lines. And then this right here will have the stitching on it, so it's not going to cause any problems there. But anyway, I went ahead and I folded it up and pressed it. So now that when I do the stitching, really quick and easy. So I start my stitching on the underarm seam. Okay, so that is the end of this alteration, and I just wanted to show you for the casual shirt, I just kind of press this open, give it a little more of a casual feel. Short sleeves. Sorry, I've got thread on my shirt now. And then the shallow curved hemline. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.